Well, hello everyone. Thank you for tuning in for another episode of the Entrepreneur Podcast, where faith and biblical wisdom meets the pavement in the journey of entrepreneurship. I'm your host. My name is Edna Harding, and today we're diving into a theme that many of you might find particularly relatable, and that is navigating the unexpected disruptions that life throws our way. How many of you guys, just by listening to that, can totally raise your hand and be like, yep, that happens a lot in entrepreneurship, especially when it comes to what I would say working entrepreneurs who are moms, specifically of young children. And so today I wanted to share some of the lessons I've learned during those different types of challenges that I've encountered throughout these past 7 years. I technically started my business in 2014, so it's been 10 years. However, I did leave my corporate job until late 2016. So we're going on almost 7 years. And so today I wanted to share just some, just have conversations and truly just share from my personal experience, and I'm hoping that it will be benefit to you. Just yesterday, actually, true story, I received news that perfectly illustrates the topic that I want to discuss today. So apparently, my husband, who is right now we're based in Colorado Springs, has been promoted to command, which is basically a wonderful recognition of his hard work and dedication. He's now in charge of a whole unit. And with this exciting news, even though I'm happy for him, it comes with another big change, which is another move. Okay. This time to Huntsville, Alabama. Now, believe it or not, we haven't even been in Colorado Springs for a full year yet. We moved here in July, and right now it's June. So it's another chapter in our life of frequent relocations, and each move is a test of resilience and adaptability, specifically, not just for me, but for my children and for him as well. But I guess he's kind of used to it. We had like a little intense conversation this morning. I told him, "You're used to this. I'm not used to always jumping." We just got married in 2018. So almost 7 years, or I guess 6 years right now, but it's really like it's been a challenge for me. And because I'm such a relationship based person, I don't like staying going from one place to another. I like to stay put and get planted and have my roots down. And it's been challenging for me to say the least. And so it, the constant moving, even though this is my one, two, three, fourth move is always hard whenever they tell me it's time for us to move, especially when it's a surprise one like this one. We weren't supposed to move until next year. And so anyway, I'm sharing all of this to say, yes. So my life got turned upside down again yesterday. And I wanted to say that, life as a military spouse is one of constant change. And if you guys are military spouses, you get it. Or maybe you have a significant other, your spouse who constantly moves for his or her job. It's like it's really challenging, not just for the spouse, but even for the children. Specifically, my children don't really know because they're young. They're 2 and 4. But for me, I have to deal with all the looking for schools, looking for doctors, looking for houses, just all the different things that needs to take place in order for us to be prepared for our next move. And moving every 1 to 2 years isn't just about packing and unpacking. And I think that's what people think. And sometimes my husband just thinks that. It's actually about reestablishing your life again, your community again, and yes, your business again. It's about finding new opportunities in each locations, sometimes from scratch, much like Abraham, who was called to go into the unknown, trusting that God had a specific plan for each new destination. And that's found in Genesis 12:1. And this is something that was tough for me because, again, I'm such a planner, and I would say a control freak sometimes, where I want to know 6 months ahead, a year ahead. Like I'm a very meticulous person, even though I'm also a visionary person, meaning I love to be creative and think outside the box and just have fun things. But I do want to have some sort of strategic plan. And so, one of the lessons that I've learned just as a military spouse that I think really applies to entrepreneurship and might be of benefit to you is to embrace change as an opportunity for growth. And and then that's something that I'm sure we've heard about a lot as entrepreneurs, but that is truly, in order for you to grow, you need to embrace change. And change can be anything. It could be lifestyle change, it could be health change, it could be, I don't know, financial change. It could be all these different types of changes, but you need to be able to look at each change and each season in life, whether good or bad, as an opportunity for growth. And one of the things that I've learned as an entrepreneur who constantly have to move and set up shop and then leave again is you need to be able to network in each new community and look at every location as a fresh market for your business. And I think what really helped me with that is the fact that when I was in sales back then in corporate America, I would have new territories every single time. So in a way, hindsight is 2020. When I look back, they would always give me like the crappiest territories, and by the end of my term with them, it would be the most profitable territory in the country or in the world. And I think having that background in corporate America, where I would always constantly go to new territories, especially because I moved up a lot, or I would switch companies because our competitors will hire me. Basically, I learned how to adapt, and I had to kind of take those lessons from the past and apply it to my life now. Like it's just a new territory, basically. It's just a new gig. And I had to have the mentality in entrepreneurship, especially as a military spouse. Does that help? I hope it does. But I really think if you have the mentality that every time when you move, it's just a new territory, it's a new community, that really will help you, and it also helped me. And even though, again, I don't embrace it with joy and happiness, my husband can say, like, a lot of times I cried a lot yesterday because I was like, no, not again. I'm already getting traction in Colorado Springs, and now we have to get up and move. All right. And then the second thing that I wanted to talk about is, the adventure of being a mom in my 40s to young toddlers. Although I'm 39 years old right now, I'm about to turn 40 in a couple weeks. Yes, it is making me like really like look at my life, basically give myself a little bit of grace because it's a full-time job on its own being a mom to young babies, and again 4 and 2, they're still 100% dependent on you, and it requires a lot of patience, it requires a lot of resilience, it requires a lot of multitasking, and these are all skills that are directly related to managing a business. So reflecting on these experiences, this really brings to mind, the financial setbacks I even faced, even when I was entrepreneur by myself without a family. And specifically, the real estate scam that I mentioned before that forced me to start over financially. And then prior to that, I had to start over again financially when it came to my my ex-husband taking all of the money that I worked hard for because he was just narcissistic like that. But the bottom line is all of those things, like really, um, it's a harsh lesson, just put it that way. It's a very harsh lesson. And it talks about, and to me, it talks about like it kind of tests your vulnerability and the importance of having robust safety nets. And that's what I realized is I didn't really have any safety net, and I realized that I had a lot of blind spots and a lot of holes in my business. And so it's similar to the trials of Job, for example, who despite his losses, he remained steadfast in his faith. And that's found in Job chapter 1, verse 21 to 22. Now, why do I say this? You know, again, my ex and then those scammers, not just that's just one instance. I have been scammed multiple times, believe it or not, in my business. One thing lesson that I would pass on to you is always conduct thorough due diligence, okay? Thorough due diligence before investments and maintain a solid emergency fund to safeguard your business. So if you do not have what I call your storm money, right, in your emergency fund for your business, a lot of times you have an emergency funds for life, for family, but a lot of business owners I know don't have an emergency fund for their business. So basically, everything that's coming in is going out. There's this book called Profit First that I ran into many, many years ago that really, really helped me prepare for these emergency funds, emergencies, because you basically take it out of your revenue right away, and every single revenue you get a percentage of it. And having that in effect, I don't think I would have started over as much. Now, mind you, like I said, these scammers were really bad. Like they 500 grand, type of funding on top of ruining my credit score because they took my social security and just ran with it and borrowed a bunch of loans under my name. And so it was a lot. It was a storm. It was a major storm and a major hurdle. But bottom line is I learned a hard lesson there is to really, first of all, pre-qualify the people that I work with, number one. Number two is really know the ins and out of my investments. And if I don't know it, I am not going to invest in it. And third is having some sort of emergency supply to help you navigate through the times when you're not going to have all, the income that you have because of life's situation. All right. Another major change and another transition that I had to go through was when my father-in-law was really, really sick, and it was prior to him passing away last year. And then on top of that, my mother-in-law is also handicapped and yet can't really do anything because she is in stage, I forgot what stage, but it's late diabetes stage. And, they're going through a lot physically. And of course, my husband, who's the eldest and who's the son, has to kind of help and support them emotionally, maybe not always physically because he has to work all the time, but emotionally on the phones a lot, dealing with the hospitals, dealing with the lawyers, dealing with all these different, especially when my father-in-law passed, it was planning the funeral. There was so many things going on last year. And, caring for them, while my husband cared for them, I had to juggle business responsibilities as well as, take care of my young children at that time. One of them was in preschool, the other one was at home with me. And yet I had clients and I had to really manage that. And it taught me a lot about the importance of having community support. And that theme is echoed all over the Bible. Specifically, one of the ones I want to focus on is Galatians chapter 6:2, where it says, carry each other's burdens. And that is something, I think if I didn't have the support system that I had, whether if it's friends, volunteering, family, church members, like having a babysitter, I probably would pull my hair out. So practically, what's an advice I can give you? Well, implement flexible working hours and foster a supportive work culture that allows you and your team, especially when you have employees, to manage personal responsibilities. Because let's face it, life happens to you and your team. And sometimes, we get so hard on our team members if they have to take off because they got to take care of an elderly parent, or if they have to take off because, you know, some major thing happened, like give them some grace. Like, I think about compassion. I think about the things that it's not standard according to the world systems, but I would assume that Jesus would want us to show compassion to those who are dealing with traumatic things and challenging things. And instead of taking away from their, vacation time, have some sort of special time that they could take away in addition to their vacation time where they focus on emergencies, call it emergency time. I don't know. Come up with something. But my point is, like, these things will really help improve your morale and just create that culture that really embraces the fact that life happens and that you got them and you got you, and having some sort of flexible um, system that helps navigate through the challenges of life. So specifically, let me give you another example. So for me, I made it a point that I only work 20 to 25 hours a week. And I have it planned to where if I have a certain amount of customers, I have systems in place and so forth, I could still make $1 million a year, even just from working 20 to 25 hours a week. And ultimately, that's my commercial plane, right? And ultimately, I want to get to a rocket phase where everything is automated and I'll still make that, regardless if I'm working in my business or not. And then that's just at the minimum, right? So these are examples of what I'm talking about when you're trying to create a flexible working hour system and a support structure for you and your business and your employees so that you can take care of your real priority, yes, which is your family and your well-being. Okay. All right. Now, each of these descriptions, from health crisis to natural disasters, bring its own sets of challenges, right? I wanted to talk about, I remember one time, um, so after the bank, so I had to file bankruptcy because, long story short, I'd say they ruined my credit, like really, really bad. It took out loans that I had to pay for that never went to me. Okay, just put it that way. And the lawyers told me that the only way for me to put a stop on it is to file bankruptcy. And so I had to do that. Then I was like, all right, let me go ahead and focus on my business now. It's okay. If I did it before, I'll do it again. Well, guess what? The moment when I finally was able to like breathe from the bankruptcy and dealing with the IRS and the lawyers and the FBI and the SEC, in August, Hurricane Harvey happens in Houston. And the whole entire city was submerged in floods, and everyone was like, couldn't work, and there's so much damage, and everyone's finances was all like jacked up, and they did not want to spend because they didn't have insurance for their, I mean, it was so bad, guys. Yeah, natural disasters happen. So, well, let's talk about COVID. How about when COVID happened? Like everything was shut down and all those things. So my point is, all of those different things, what I call this divine disruption, um, all bring some sort of set of challenges and setbacks and lessons. And what it taught me out of all those things is it taught me a lot about resilience and the necessity of adaptability and the power of community. More than anything, I think they show me that sometimes the hardest lessons are the ones that grow us the most. And I've learned so much about myself, specifically how strong I am, how resilient I am, and how God truly gave me a problem-solving mind, because I literally had to tap into the genius of God and the guidance of the Holy Spirit so that I can navigate everything that I was going through. And that's just scratching the surface. I'm not even talking about like the personal stuff, right? The real personal stuff. And so anyway, I'm hoping that, sharing these experiences has helped you and really showed you that you're not alone in facing life's upheavals. We all have our storms to weather, but it's how we come out on the other side that defines us. So I would love to hear what's your story. How have you navigated your own disruptions? Let me know in the comments. Let me know in an email, on my website, in social media, on LinkedIn. I really truly want to hear from you guys and identifying what these disruptions are and how you handled it. And maybe I could share them with those my listeners who are listening right now. Well, again, I just want to thank you guys for tuning in today. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories and insights. And join me next time on the Entrepreneur Podcast, where we continue to explore the journey of growth and resilience. Until then, keep moving forward. And no matter what life throws your way, remember God is on your side and He will never leave you nor forsake you. Well, bless you, my friends. Until next time, keep shining. Thanks for joining us this week on Entrepreneur. Make sure to visit our website, favorandwealth.com, for more information on our services. While you're at it, if you found value in this show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes, or if you simply tell a friend about the show, that would help me out too. Also, check out my book, The Ugly Side of Sales, available on Amazon, where I share 7 of my secrets on how to win and grow business the right way. Until next time, keep shining.